Welcome to Encyclopedia, the channel where we explore historic events from the people who were actually involved at the same time, debunking myths and misinformation. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell. This will be a three-part series on the first family of show business, the Jacksons. There's always been talk about how Joe and Catherine Jackson ran a very strict household, which enabled the family to be successful. At one point, the curtain was pulled back and it was questionable if this was just only a strict household. Allegations of verbal, physical, and sexual abuse arose, and the family at the time seemed to be at odds. This was a moment in time where this world did not know the impact of the internet or a Me Too movement. We relied heavily on books and talk show interviews to give us the information. Our goal with this particular series is to evaluate the situation then with the information that we have now. Some people have chosen to stay silent. Some have admitted to abusive moments. Others over the years have changed their views in some ways. It's a fascinating situation, so let's get into part one. Some of the details may be disturbing. Child abuse is a very serious topic, and we should take all allegations seriously and make sincere efforts to protect all victims. Thank you.
What do you say about all these things that have been said over the years that you harmed Michael as a child?
Oh, that's a bunch of bull S. That's a bunch of bull S.
Just straighten me out.
And that's not true.
You never physically harmed him?
Never have. And I raised him just like you would raise your kids, you know. But harm Michael for what? I have no reason. That's my son. I loved him, and I still love him.
He was rough. The way he would beat you was, was hard. Sometimes he'd make you strip nude first. He would oil you down. Your whole ritual. He would oil you down. So when the whip of the ironing cord hit you, it would just, and it was just like me dying. And you just whips all over your face, your back, everywhere. And I always hear my mother back, "No, Joe, you're gonna kill him. You're gonna kill him. No." I was like, I would just give up. There's nothing I can do, And I hated him for it. Hated him.
The major break with the family came in 1991 when LaToya published her autobiography. Among other things, the book claims that her father physically abused her and her brothers and that he tried to prevent her from having a life of her own. And as LaToya toured the country to promote her book, her allegations escalated.
Who was the subject of the sexual abuse?
Well, myself and my older sister.
Which was Rebe?
Rebe, yes.
Since it wasn't in the book, could you tell us what happened?
Sure. My sister and I we slept in the same bed. Mm-hmm. And my father would get out of the bed at night with my mother.
It's a very horrible thing, and I'm just thinking it must be very hard for you.
Well, it is hard, but life goes on. I can't sit down and build up stress over what LaToya out there is saying. I got to keep on going. I got a life to live.
Well, it was hard for me. I'm telling you, it was very hard for me because I couldn't believe that I had a daughter out there saying things like this. It's the worst thing that ever happened to me in my life, besides the death of my mother.
I don't know why she's saying these things because the LaToya I know it's not the same person I'm seeing right now. It really isn't, And it's sad to see that, and it hurts my mother all the time.
It hurts you too.
We don't know what happened. We just waited for her to come back.
On the line from their home in California are LaToya's parents, Joseph and Catherine Jackson. Can you hear me, Mr. and Mrs. Jackson?
Oh, yes. How are you?
Very good.
Great.
This is my opinion, as humiliating a punch in the nose as a parent could take from a child. Do you agree?
Yes, we do. Yes, totally agree. Yes.
Let me just give you a couple things from have you read the book?
Nope, I haven't.
Not really.
Catherine?
No, I haven't read it. I looked at a few pages and I felt so bad I just couldn't keep on.
so I just put the book down.
Phil, the reason we didn't read the book because there's a bunch of lies in there all the way through the book.
I was 6 when I got the beating of my life, writes your daughter, LaToya. A straight A student, I always looked forward to report card day since it was one of the few times Joseph might praise me. Late one afternoon, I happily carried home my grade card because Mother was at work, presented it to my father. You tore it open. The note on the report card said, LaToya's work is excellent, but she rarely speaks up in class, and so I feel it might be best to hold her back a grade. Joseph put down the report card and suddenly smacked my face with his open palm. Don't you ever shame me again, he shouted. And then he took off his belt and reached for the switch employed so often around our house. As a metal buckle and like a whip-like branch seared my skin, I cried, no, no, please stop. But my father was beyond hearing. If I close my eyes, I can still see his face, so on, so. You will never shame me like this again, she quotes you as saying. But I do study. Why are you beating me? You drag her to the bathroom. She says there's blood. Your mother came in and silently cleaned my cuts and bruises before tucking me in next to Reby. I promised, she said to herself, I'll never make him angry again. I did start speaking up in class, and I became a perfect child, which is the way abused children respond to this. This didn't happen, Joe?
No, it did not, Phil. It did not happen, and I don't know anything about that, and Catherine can bear with me.
It's all lies, Phil. It's not the truth. We hear his car coming down the drive. We always drove this big Mercedes, and he drives real slow. Joseph home, quick. Boom, door slam, everybody runs to their room. Like there's sometimes I'd be in bed at night, sleeping. It's 12 at night. The door's locked. So I'm giving you 5 seconds. You know, open, I'm going to kick it down. And he starts kicking it. Boom, kick it, like breaking the door down. Why do you sign that contract today? I go, I don't know. He goes, well, sign it. If you don't sign it, you're in trouble. So you would sign? I had to. He was very physical. He'd throw you and hit you hard as he can.
LaToya Jackson, sexual and physical abuse within her world-famous family was a personal tragedy. But when she went public with her story, it shocked millions. The image of America's first family of show business, an image that started with the success of the Jackson 5, was shattered. LaToya's parents continued to deny their daughter's allegations, but a private investigator found someone to corroborate them. He's a former Jackson 5 band member who also lived in the Jackson home. Today, for the first time, he supports LaToya's charges of abuse. Ronnie, you were a keyboardist with the Jackson 5 for what, a good number of years?
Yeah, about 10 years, 10 years.
And at one point you lived with the family?
Yeah, in California.
Now, this is a terrible thing.
It is.
Does it surprise you when you hear LaToya talk?
Not really, because I don't really put anything past Joseph.
What does that mean?
Well, I've seen him on occasions, like, I remember one time in Gary when we were rehearsing, and the mother fixed a nice dinner, and everybody was sitting down, commiserating and having fun and talking about going to, I think it was the Apollo Theater to do a gig there, and it was like 0 outside. And Joseph said, I want some Kool-Aid. He said, Jermaine, go down to the store and give me some Kool-Aid. Jermaine said, man, it's cold outside. And Joseph took an army spoon and bam, hit him across the head, sent him out the door in the cold.
So you're saying he was physically abusive to his children? You saw that happen?
With an army spoon, you know, big stirring spoon?
Yeah. That aside, how did he treat LaToya, from what you saw?
From what I saw, like LaToya said, she tried to stay to herself. Okay, she was real quiet. She was like mother's shadow. But then whenever a guy would come around and talk to LaToya and take her on a date, Joseph would hit the ceiling. You had to scrape him off. It was like, it was wild. Even one time, I was trying to teach her how to swim. And he went off. It was more like, hey, this is my girl, man.
Sounds like a jealous boyfriend rather than a father.
Like a jealous boyfriend more so than a father.
Was he like at all?
Well, it's not an appropriate time of the evening, I'm afraid, to talk about the nature of the sexual abuse, but your father physically attacked you, abused you, frightened you?
With everybody in the family. It wasn't just me. He would hold guns to our heads and pull the trigger constantly. He would strike matches to our toes and let them burn while we were asleep, and that would wake us up, and he would laugh when he would do these things. He found them very funny.
Did you never feel like running to somebody for help before now? That went on a long time ago.
No, but that went on until I left home. My father never stopped hitting my brothers. I must admit I was beaten once in my life, and I vowed I'd never be beaten again, but the sexual abuse, of course, went on, and the verbal abuse, that
You
emotional...
could have run away from home.
Well, yes, I did try to leave several times, but of course you have your mother there talking and saying you can't leave, people know who you are, and they're going to kidnap you and all these
But did your
different
mother
things.
support your father in this, or did she try to give you any relief, or did she try and stop him?
It's really difficult to say. I would like to think that she didn't support him. However, when my sister Rebe was sexually abused, we slept in the same bed. And my mother would say to my father, "Joe, not tonight, leave her alone, let her rest. Not tonight, Joe." And Rebe would say, "Mother, please go get him help. He needs help." And my mother wouldn't. So Rebe left home at a young girl. She left to live with another family.
Was that...
I never whipped LaToya in her life.
You never whipped her?
Never.
She didn't get all those beatings you say she got. I doubt if she got one beating in her life,
She says she only got one.
and that was from me.
Well, what are your thoughts?
It's not true, Phil. Everything they're saying is totally a lie. It's so obvious of what they're saying. I can only be honest and speak the truth. And that's what's wrong. They don't want to be honest.
You know, it's hard to want to take your parents to the gallows here.
Phil, I'm not taking my parents to the gallows. I could have taken them to the gallows, but I didn't.
for parents, this might be worse.
Phil, I could have, but I did not. Because I didn't want to do that to them. I only wanted... in that book, I praised my mother, and I also praised my father. However, at the same time, I want the message to come through that we were abused children, and it's affected everybody in the family. My brothers and sisters have come to me, each one crying, telling me that they are afraid of my father, and they're grown adults. They're tired of him slapping them and hitting them with his fist in the face.
I'll be back in just a moment.
We would be honored if you would join us.